movie star. It doesn't matter what your occupation is, what your job is. As long as you use your time to try to make sure the ones after you can do what they can to create a better world, a better society, I think that's huge. That's huge. Um,
Sorry, Mike. I know you're going on a spiel and an important spiel. I'm just working on this. You trying to see if they can hear us.
YouTube
Trying
is
to see if they can hear us. So if
always,
whoever's watching, let us know if you can hear us.
YouTube's always
All
always
right.
something. All right,
Where?
all
Let me
right.
back.
Man, I just went off.
You went off, Mike.
I went
You
off.
It's for the people who
Oh
are on
man!
IG, who are on Facebook. They just heard you go off.
Wow.
If you want to give a Spark Notes
Spark Notes version.
a version of what you just said about how you want to, your intentions of ending off the year 2020.
Real quick, shout out to Dirk on IG. He said, make sure we register to vote. Very important. Make sure you do that. But yeah, end off 2020. I want to make sure I'm ending off 2020 knowing and fully understanding what, myself and the world and my people went through. That way, stepping into 2021, I'm better, armed to put the best foot forward to make sure, my role as an educator, I want to make sure the next generation has a better understanding and can put their best foot forward to try to make this world, this society, better than what's come before us.
Well said. Well said.
Spark Notes version, I
That's
guess.
Spark Notes. Well said, Mike. If you heard Mike, he definitely went in detail on that. And I want to ask you guys, to people who are watching, what are your intentions of ending off 2020? We had a summer, we had a rough spring, and it's maybe a rough summer for y'all as well. And we are entering fall. A lot of people are going back to school, like Mike was bringing up as an educator, kids going back to school. This is the time right before the holidays where it's a real grind. And so how do you plan on, going through the rest of the 2020, the 4 or 5 months that we have left? It was, and trying to make the best of it the best way you can, because we were here, right? We're stuck here right now. This is our reality. I joked earlier, like, this feels like a simulation. Like, this is an alternate universe that we're seeing right now. If you told anybody this a year ago that kids would be going to school in their kitchen, parents had to find desks and create makeshift offices for their kids to have study spaces and things like that. Like, it's just a weird, tough time that we're going through right now. And, we just got to do the best we can to get through this wave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Just staying optimistic and positive, something I've said on the show many times, especially here in this quarantine home edition of Double M. Optimism and positivity, man.
And I think, with quarantine, you're seeing that there's different ways to do things, and people are finding creative ways to make means and finding ways to entertain and still try to find a way to make things as normal as can be. As you see now lately, obviously sports are back, and there's points in time where I'm watching sports and I forget that this is a different version of basketball. This is a football game without fans and things like that. Different simulations, and some normalcy is coming back, and people are finding ways. You're starting to see award shows and how they are changing up how they do things and whatnot. And might be the reality for a year, maybe 2 years. We have no idea. Like, this vaccine, it's gonna take a while for it to come. So keep wearing your damn masks when you guys are out. But yeah, it's weird, bro. It's weird. I can't believe I remember doing this in March, doing this show in March, and we was joking around, elbows touching and everything, but we did not see ourselves here in September.
No, not at all. Not at all. Did not think back in March that we'd still be here at home recording this show, the way we've been doing for the last couple of months. Like, nah, didn't see this coming at all. But we're making the most of it, man.
For sure.
And I think even despite not probably having the proper production that we want to put on, like we love to have for Double M, we've had some great shows, some real intense, in-depth, solid shows here where, you know, people tuned in, giving us their thoughts, their opinions, their insights, their feelings on different things. And it's really made the show continue to roll, continue to move on a, you know, positive, informative light, I feel like.
Yeah, man. And, you know, we're going to use this platform to continue to speak on everything that's been happening around the world, whether it's through the injustices that we've seen throughout this summer and that we're going to continue to see throughout. And that's why, you know, the theme from here on out on these fall shows is going to be to vote, to really just go out there and, you know, put a stamp on, especially our generation. Our generation is usually a generation that doesn't really care, right? We feel like these things won't affect us, or we don't really have the power to do anything, but it really is on us. We have to go out there. We have to vote, man. And that's all we can really preach here on Double M.
True. But let's get to the playlist.
Yes, sir.
Again, we are live. Thankfully, people can hear us on YouTube now. Obviously, if you're tuned in on IG, what's up to you guys? And on Facebook as well. You know, spreading it out on 3 different social media platforms. But we're here. And on the playlist tonight, obviously, Marv touched on a little bit. There's sports going on. There's definitely sports going on. And the NBA in the playoffs right now, in the conference finals, Celtics taking on the Miami Heat, Lakers taking on the Denver Nuggets. And they're chugging along. You know, by this time next week, we could possibly know what the finals is looking like. It's a possibility. But we'll take a look and have a conversation of the playoffs, especially the Celtics in this series against Miami, down 2-1 right now. What do they need to do to tie things up in Game 4? We'll talk about it here for sure. We definitely want to hear your thoughts and opinions. And I know I already got some responses on Twitter about things they would like to see the Celtics do, but we'll touch upon all of that. Also, Patriots week 2 in this Cam Newton era. Patriots are 1-1 right now. And, you know, even though they're 1-1 at 500, their new starting quarterback has been looking pretty damn good. Cam Newton has been playing very well, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion right now. Maybe not in some people's opinion. I think Marv has something to say about that. But for the most part, the Patriots as a whole are chugging along. You know, they're not looking like a team that's gonna scrap away and hopefully make. They're looking solid right now, and we'll touch upon that as well. Also, another big news in sports: Michael Jordan, you know, the greatest of all time in the world of basketball, has dipped his toes into the world of NASCAR and has formed his own NASCAR team that is going to be led by Bubba Wallace, who's currently the only black NASCAR driver right now. And I mean, yeah, that's good news. I guess, you know, Michael Jordan started that thing, but, you know, his comments behind why he's doing it, and just Michael Jordan over the last several years has been real different than the Michael Jordan, you know, people have talked about him seeing over the years. That's definitely a conversation I want to get into for sure. But yeah, and as well as usual, whatever you guys have on your minds, please drop it in the chat section, the comment section. We open to talk about everything and anything per usual here on Double M.
Yeah, man. So let's get right into it. Looking forward to hearing you guys and your thoughts and everything. We haven't got a chance to talk about this Miami Heat series, huh?
We sure didn't, because the last time they were playing was Tuesday night during Double M. So, you know, we postponed so everybody can tune in and watch. But yeah, Celtics Miami Heat.
Celtics Heat, you know, Heat are up 2-1 right now into this series. Look, when we previewed this series, we knew that Heat were going to be trouble for the Celtics. A tough team, and I've been saying it. The Miami Heat are going to be a tough team to beat 4 times. They're going to be the toughest out just because of who they are. Their never quit attitude and such. Now, going into 3 games, have they proved that? Yes. But man, oh man, has it been rough for the Celtics. We're talking about 2 games now, the first 2 games where Celtics blew 14 plus double-digit leads going into the second half. And quite frankly, it's embarrassing. It's been embarrassing for the team. We all know what happened after game 2, the big spew between Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. Game 3, they come back, they recover, they beat the Miami Heat. Gordon Hayward returns. And that's pretty much a quick little summary of how this series goes. Tomorrow night, the Celtics take on the Miami Heat. What has been your early thoughts, Mike, on how this series has went?
Well, one thing for sure, coming into the series is the fact that I've said this to anybody who I've talked basketball with, Celtics with. Miami Heat is a tough team. They're full of shooters and dogs. That's how I describe them. They're full of shooters and dogs. They got guys on that team who can shoot the ball really well, and then they also have guys on that team who just have that grind, that grit, don't give up attitude, are going to play hard on both ends of the court. That's the team that Miami Heat is, and they do it all together well collectively. As a group, as a team, they play well together, and it's why they've gotten to this point. It's why they've gotten to this point, playing together. Everybody who's in their role plays their role well, and they've gotten to this point because of that, also led by a great, solid coach who's been around and seen a lot in Eric Spoelstra. I didn't see the Celtics having a cakewalk when facing Miami. I didn't see that at all. At the same time, like I said against Toronto, same thing can be said against Miami. Celtics have more firepower than the Miami Heat. When you look at the top 5 players from both teams, you're looking at probably Tatum's the best. You can make an argument that Jimmy Butler is the second best.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, Bam Adebayo. Those are probably the 5 best players from this series. Celtics have 3 out of the 5. In the same situation pretty much against Toronto. Celtics have more firepower. So I figured, again, at the end of the day, as long as Celtics can get their firepower to continue to be successful, they'll be fine. We saw how game 1 went with Kemba struggling. Saw how game 2 went with Kemba struggling. And that, amongst a lot of the reasons, but that especially is part of the reason why Celtics were losing these games. They weren't getting their guys to fire on all cylinders, because once you get past Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, and Jason Tatum, we know what this team is.
Kemba didn't struggle game 2. They still lost, but Kemba didn't struggle game.
Well, Kemba, that's the game Kemba bounced back, but they just
right.
As a team collapsed.
Yes.
Well, yes. If you have all three of those guys firing on all cylinders, Celtics are probably going to be successful because this team has no depth. This team has no bench. You get to game 3. Thankfully, you get Hayward back. Obviously, he doesn't go out for any big scoring performance, but his presence, him being out there as a threat, that's huge for the Celtics. That's huge. It's just, it's going to be a battle. And as long as the Celtics continue to play with heart, which is something they did in game 3, because in game 1 and 2, game 1, they showed they had zero heart. Game 2, they started off like gangbusters and then completely collapsed in the second half. Game 3, they came out with heart, with grit, with intensity. That's what they're going to need for the rest of the series in order to try to overcome the Miami Heat. You can't take any games off against this Heat team. You see they get these leads and whatnot. They've blown leads every time. Every time.
I fear that Celtics dug themselves too much in a hole.
2-1
Yes,
in a hole.
I think they did. You needed to get one of those wins in those first two. Can they still come back? Yes, I still believe that they can come back. But you have to think those first two games Miami won. Miami wasn't a better team. Miami didn't outplay the Celtics.
They just play with more heart.
They played with more heart. There's gonna be a game where Miami plays better than the Celtics and they take that win. That's how I'm seeing it as. The games you played better than Miami, you should have won. If we're being honest, this series should be 3-0. If we're being honest. Celtics, and I remember the first two games they were saying, like the 148 minutes Celtics had played, 111 of them Celtics were leading. Is that for some reason this team just feels like when they get a lead, Miami's just gonna fold. Miami is built different. They got Jimmy Butler as their leader, who is a clutch. He might not be the greatest shooter, the greatest scorer, but there's one thing Jimmy Butler can do. He's clutch. He's smart. He knows how to make big plays. You can't give this team life, and they gave him a lot of life. And I've been telling you guys for a minute, I love how this team is constructed. I love their bench. I love Hero. I love Duncan Robinson. They got guys that know their role and just do their. You're never gonna see Jay Crowder out of his role. He's never gonna do too much. He knows his role on this team. Jimmy Butler knows his role on this team. And then the factor, Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic has been their best player on for the Miami Heat, outplaying Kemba. You brought up Kemba Walker, and there's times you look at him, it's like the moment's too big for him. The lights are too bright. You escape Game 7 against the Toronto Raptors. Kemba Walker was nowhere to be found. Barely found in the Toronto series. Comes in here, struggles horrifically. Game 2 has a better game. Game 3, we know about the depth. And I think Gordon Hayward obviously provides something that you didn't have, where you can have another playmaker on the field. Because another thing the Celtics are doing, they're turning the ball over at a high rate, something that they usually don't. But when you put the ball in Marcus Smart's hand, and Smart, who's been the MVP of the playoffs for the Celtics, but one thing he does is he turns the ball over a lot. Is this something you got to live with when you have Marcus Smart on your team? You're going to know that he's a turnover machine. Now with Gordon Hayward back on the team, he can start doing more of the playmaking skills and setting guys up. But I want to speak on Marcus Smart for a second. The guy's just incredible.
He's had a hell of a playoffs.
The guy's incredible. To see where he's come from he couldn't shoot for a lick until he's probably top 2, top 3 team in shooting percentage from 3, to the point there's times we watched the game and we're just like, let Smart take that shot,
which is wild to think about.
Smart has been your MVP. He has been your best player, your most consistent player from the beginning of the playoffs until now. And it's incredible to think that. And you're not going to get to a championship. You're not going to win a championship if you don't have Marcus Smart playing at this level on your team. He's become that third scorer. You have the thing that was good when Gordon Hayward went out. You didn't miss his scoring because Smart's the one who
stepped
picked it
up big time. Yep.
You missed other things from Gordon, obviously size, lack of depth, playmaking. But the thing you didn't miss was scoring. Marcus Smart stepped up for that. And that was huge. There's times where Tatum doesn't have it. He becomes complacent. Jaylen Brown, if he's not scoring, he's nowhere to be found. Kemba struggling, and Smart takes it upon himself to say, "I'm going to make these shots. I'm going to take these shots, or I'm going to find a way to get something going." He always has that motor, and you got to love him for that.
Yeah, Smart has, from all the hate sometimes Boston fans spew towards Smart, like he stepped up big time, and you can easily say without hesitation for a lot of these games, If it wasn't for Marcus Smart, you don't know where the Celtics would be.
For sure.
Would they still even be in the playoffs? We don't know if it wasn't for Smart. Gordon Hayward went down, and yes, we all know that is huge. Like Jay just said, Gordon Hayward provides depth. He's a stabilizing presence because he can do a little bit of everything, with his size, playmaking ability. We knew that losing Hayward was huge. And obviously, when Hayward first went down, the talk was mainly, okay, now you're really going to need Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to go off. Now you're really going to need Kemba Walker to go off. Like, those three guys need to do everything. And in a sense, Hayward went down, and they didn't miss a beat. Like you said, with the way Smart's been playing. We know this team has 4 great scoring options and fully healthy Tatum, Brown, Kemba, Hayward. Smart stepped right in and replaced Hayward. Obviously, does that take away from what the bench? Yes, but they did enough to get him in this position now where they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I mean, now you add Hayward back into the mix. And it looks, from one game, they had him come off the bench. I'm assuming they'll continue with that. Hayward came back. They had a great game. They won that game. They're going to continue with Hayward off the bench. And I think everybody's fine with that. I don't think there's anybody right now out there that's mad that Hayward's coming off the bench. Knowing that the bench is probably one of the weakest parts of this team. Like I said, yeah, Hayward came back. I think he only had 6 points in his return. But he played 30 minutes, which is something I didn't even think he would have done, playing 30 minutes in his first game back. But I tell you, even with just 6 points in 30 minutes, the fact that he's out there, like I said before, he's a threat. When they're playing defense or whatnot, now you got to say, oh, that's Hayward in the corner. When it's Ogilvy in the corner, you don't give a damn what's happening over there. If I'm a Miami Heat player and Ogilvy's in the game standing in the corner, I tell you, I'm not even turning my head to look at him one time. Hayward's in the game, now you got to be like, okay, that's Hayward over in the corner. Let's pay attention. Or sometimes Hayward's on the ball, so he's making things happen. So I know, and we can all say this and know this for sure. Hayward being back, I don't think necessarily was an injection into the heart and gave him life.
Nah.
Hayward's not providing that. Hayward's not that type of player, not knocking him or anything like that. But Hayward's not the type of guy that, say if it was Smart that went down and he was coming back from, now you'd be like, okay, we got that guy back. We got that dog back. And Smart. Hayward's not like that. But everything else he does on the floor, he's definitely an addition to the team.
It just comes down to depth.
Yeah, it's definitely depth and, huge addition to the team. But, collectively, the whole team just has to continue to play with heart. Like, yes, you got your highly skilled players who can do things, who can score the basketball. But against this Miami team, it's going to come down to, yes, you want to get buckets and play solid defense. But you just got to have the hustle, the heart, the pride when playing this team.
Yeah.
What was that? Maybe game 1 or 2?
Game 2.
Game 2?
Oh, yeah.
When they blew it in the second half. Game 2, when I'm watching the Celtics, Jay Crowder shot the ball bounced off the rim, and the only person that jumped in the air for the rebound was Bam Adebayo. And I mean, literally, only person who jumped. Not one of those Celtics players, 5 Celtics players on the floor, not one of them even leaped off the court to go after the rebound. Diving for balls, racing for loose balls, going after rebounds. How many possessions there where Miami Heat got consecutive second chances and offensive rebounds because Celtics weren't just battling. They weren't really trying to get down and dirty to win the game.
And they haven't done it all series. I know they won game 3, but they still haven't. When the Celtics get punched in the mouth, they fold. That's who this team is, unfortunately. They've been getting by through talent. Another thing wrong with this team, coaching. Brad Stevens, in second series in a row, has been outcoached. Nick Nurse, great coach, obviously NBA Coach of the Year. Eric Spoelstra, you mentioned it, great coach. But he's been getting severely outcoached. When there's a zone, he sees his team struggling. He can't fight in games. He can't make in-game change adjustments, which is baffling to me. You watch this team and they do the same thing at the end of games or at the end of quarters. When the Celtics were moving the ball beautifully, they become ISO ball team. They become the Houston Rockets.
And that's on the coach.
That's on the coach. They become the Houston Rockets. One person gets the ball, I'm going to try to make him play. Or I'm going to let the clock go down to 3 seconds and pass it up for someone else to take the shot. That's not winning basketball. You're bailing the Miami Heat out. Brad Stevens, some of the things he's been doing in these past 2 series have been mind-blowing. Game 2, for example, Enes Kanter, he finally brings Enes Kanter into the game, right? Enes Kanter, first half, plays really well in the first half. And so he tries to bring him again in the second half. Eric Spoelstra's like, look, you got us the first time. We didn't see Enes Kanter coming. He hasn't played since October. All right, cool. You got us. Eric Spoelstra made an adjustment. You're gonna bring Kanter's ass again in the court. We are going to expose him. Pick and roll, Adebayo, boom. Stevens, you see that? You call a timeout and you take Kanter out the game. They exposed Kanter for 5 minutes and the game was over from there. Miami took a lead and it was done. Like, if I can see it, if Mike can see it, if the fans can see, why can't the coach see that? It's little adjustments like that Stevens, I don't know if he's afraid. I don't know if he's soft. Last year, I figured Danny Ainge told Steven, let Kyrie say whatever he wants. Let Kyrie do whatever. We're trying to keep him for the long run. And I'm like, all right, Stevens probably, they spoke to Stevens, keep your mouth shut. This year, there's none of that. You need to speak up. There was times where I felt like he didn't have a backbone to bench Kemba. Kemba was horrible. Wanamaker is playing very well. I think it took him to game 1, finally in game 1, where he had to sit Kemba Walker down and Wanamaker had to take over in the fourth quarter because Wanamaker was actually playing defense and offense. Like, you have to make those tough calls as a coach. It's the playoffs. There's no time to just say, oh, let him shoot out of this funk. If you're losing or with someone struggling, you got to play the next man up, especially if they're playing well. Now, if Wanamaker was struggling as well, obviously you're going to keep Kemba Walker in the game. But if Wanamaker is playing well, see you, Kemba. Sit down. You have to let your players know this play is unacceptable. And it's not because Kemba Walker was missing shots and that's why we're upset. Kemba felt like didn't know what he was doing. He would run to the paint, run out, he danced, throw the ball away, wasn't ineffective on defense, letting Lowry and Goran Dragic drop 30 on his head. You got to sit him down. Brad Stevens is failing to make in-game adjustments. You can't wait till the next game and be like, okay, this is how we're going to change. You got to do it during the game. Not during halftime either. During the game. Call a timeout. This is what we're doing. We got to get Jalen involved. You guys got to cut. Marcus Smart was the cutter in I think it was game 2 in the zone. Smart had free throw jumpers for maybe five series in a row.
Wasn't taking any.
He didn't take any. And his back was to the basket. So that he would cut. His back was to the back, so he couldn't even turn around and shoot no more because the defense would have caught up. You're the coach. Call that timeout and say, Smart, turn your ass around, take those free throw jumpers. Or tell Jalen to take it. That's Jalen's sweet spot. Like, why can we see this and Brad doesn't make those adjustments? It's driving me crazy.
Yeah. You're not lying. It's pretty clear to mostly everybody that Brad has struggled. Now, he had comments after game 2 saying something about, oh, it's not about the zone, and it's not about, it's just we're just not playing. Nah, Brad. Like, don't try to give me no Belichick ass answer or something. Like, yeah, your zone, you're not breaking the zone. You weren't breaking the zone, and not only were you weren't breaking the zone, you weren't calling timeouts and looking like you're trying to make any adjustments. Your team would literally just come out there or come down the court offensively every time and do the same exact thing. You know, one thing that you spoke on a little bit, Marv, that I definitely hate seeing is the fact that they go to this damn ISO ball late in the games because they make it look like that's all they know what to do now. The game gets tight, everybody gets tightens up, and the only thing they know how to do is, get the ball to Tatum and get out the way, and get the ball to Kemba and get out the way.
I'm gonna let you finish your point. Real quick. Tatum is a star, but he's not there yet.
He's still on the ride.
He's still on the ride. He's not there yet. His handles aren't there. You put a small guy on him, he doesn't know what to do. He's getting there, but he's not there yet. Yeah. And we're utilizing Tatum as if he is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly true. They're utilizing Tatum as he's that guy. And don't get any of us wrong. Tatum has been great. His career has been great. He's 30 in the league, 22 years old. He's playing amazing. But you have him at the guy yet? As like, give him the ball and get out the way. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard. He's not there yet. He's making his way, and firmly believe he will be there. He will get there, but he's not there yet. So what I was saying is, do what the hell you've been doing that's gotten you to this point in the playoffs, in the conference finals. You play 3 quarters, you played a full season, you've been in the bubble, and your style of basketball has gotten you to this point. Move the ball, cutting, pick and roll, pick and pop. But then you get to the 4th, things get tightened up in this isolation ball. I can't stand the fact that Jaylen Brown in the 4th quarter will stand in the corner and do absolutely nothing. A guy who will go the first damn near 3 quarters and drop damn near 30 points. In a lot of these playoff games, Jaylen Brown has been the leading scorer and has been leading this team offensively. But for some reason, they'll get to the 4th quarter, and it's like Jaylen Brown doesn't exist anymore. And shout out to my dad who brought it up to me that I think even Danny Ainge made the comments on a sports show that he was on, made comments like, yo, we got to get Jaylen Brown involved. And I hope Danny Ainge picked up the damn phone. I don't know if he's down in Orlando with her, but I hope he picked up the phone and called, Brad Stevens and let him know. Because if he can see it, I can see it. Everybody can see it. There's no reason why a guy who can easily, on any given night, lead your team in scoring, be just standing in the corner. Now you get to the 4th quarter and things tight. Now you just want to turn to a predictable offense that every time you come down the court, just give the ball to Tatum and move, give the ball to Kemba and move. And especially knowing the fact that Kemba in these last couple of games he's been here has been inconsistent and hesitant, don't know what he's doing, want to dribble forward, backward, crossover, but step back. No, he doesn't know what he wants to do. If you're going to let your offense look like that to end games, you asking to lose. Come on now. This is the playoffs. Ain't no time to joke, mess around, and hope that things pan out. If somebody else is balling and somebody else needs to sit their ass down, make that move.
Make it move.
If you know a play's not working or this isolation, call in time. I said, look, we need to get back to running our plays. You the coach, Brad. I'm not here on no Brad sucks or Brad doesn't know how to coach train, but he's had games where it's looked bad for him, and that's just the honest truth. We will call it here on Double M right down the middle. It's looked bad for Brad Stevens in a couple of these games.
Outcoached 2 series in a row. Outcoached. Gets some comments here. Zara says, has he been living up to the hype since he's coming to Boston? Wasn't he supposed to be the wonder coach? Yeah, he has. I mean, he's brought some bum ass teams to the conference finals. He's really bad.
He's succeeded with some bad teams.
Now, when you give a coach now some stars, when you give him a real team, this is the 2nd year now that he's had a real team. It's only 2 years. He has a legitimate team. First year, he failed. We can blame on Kyrie. But Brad was a huge part of why last year didn't work. Okay. You want to call Kyrie the cancer or whatever. He was bad. Cool. Whole new team, whole new attitude. We're here. This team was supposed to make it to the conference finals. I don't care what happened. This was a team, after we saw what the season looked like, was supposed to make it to the conference finals. You made it. So I couldn't, whatever happens here, I can't say Brad's failed. But now that you're in this situation, Giannis is gone. Like they cleared out probably your biggest threat. You had 76ers that didn't have Ben Simmons. You took care of the Toronto Raptors. Miami Heat is a team you're supposed to beat. You're supposed to beat the team. Mike already said it. They have the firepower. So when you are supposed to beat a team and you are supposed to be a good coach, these are the things you're going to get called out upon when it doesn't happen. You know, we went on the coach. The players take a lot of blame too. These guys are soft.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are effing soft. I saw it 2 years ago against Cleveland in Game 7, but they were puppies. They were young. They're still young. But it's embarrassing some of the things we're seeing. When you're up by 14, obviously the team's gonna make a run. This is basketball. This is playoffs. This is the playoffs. Brad's not gonna be on the court. There's only so much he can do. You gotta take it upon yourself to be a dog. Sometimes you watch the game, the only two dogs on this team are the only two people who fight in the locker room. Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. Those are the only two dudes I see have that dog in them. Tatum, Kemba, Tice. All you guys they're soft. You see Jimmy licks his chops anytime they get close to the end of the game. Talent can only get you so far. You gotta want to win. You gotta want to win.
And here's the thing I'll say about Brad Stevens. One last thing I'll say about Brad. And obviously, you know, this obviously doesn't have any real impact on the current series or this current team or anything like that. But just knowing Brad Stevens and who he's been over during, what is this, year 7 now with the Celtics?
Yeah, year 7.
Brad's just a nice guy. That's not a knock on him. He's not he's a nice guy. He doesn't seem like, or at least to the public, you know, I definitely don't know what it is. We don't know what it's like in the locker room, but he doesn't seem like the type of coach that is really gonna get on his team or player. He's a nice guy. He's an uplifting type of coach that would just say, "Hey, we believe in him. We believe." Like, that's great, you know. That's not saying that's bad. It's surely, again, since Brad has been here, he's had some teams that he's gotten to the conference finals and whatnot. But I'll say this, and I'll say it again. Brad Stevens is great, but this team needs, Marv said it, only Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown are the real dogs. But moving forward, I pray and hope that Danny Ainge can see and understand that this team needs tough players. Not coming from your coach. Your coach not the tough one out there. You need tough players on the team to support the star talent that you have. I think that's what it boils down to. And obviously, they're going to make do with the current team that they have and push forward. But moving forward, you know, Tatum and Brown, it's the Tatum and Brown era. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. You need to have tough players around them.
Yeah, man, you want your players to know you're fighting for them too. Last thing, because we do gotta move on. But we all saw how annoying Nick Nurse was during that series against the Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
But you love that as a player. Nick Nurse was working the refs from minute 1 to minute 48. Working them. Sometimes you see some plays like, what the hell was going on? Because Nick Nurse is in the ref's ear the whole time. As annoying as he is, and as obviously as an opponent, it probably drives you crazy. I didn't even know Nick Nurse was like that until this series. I
did not know.
But he's working them. He wouldn't be afraid to get a technical for his team. Stevens, Tice gets uncalled fouls. Just there, standing there, clapping, or there's a clear miscall. A clear miscall. Brad won't call the challenge. No, I want to say timeout. Like fight for your team.
Players take notice.
While I watch the game, that's something that drives me crazy. It doesn't seem, obviously, I know he has a great relationship with this team and everything. Everything seems to be good with Brad in the play. But fight for your guys. Work the refs a little bit. Get a technical foul in the first 2 quarters, like that, to let your team know, hey, we're not going to stand for these BS calls that we're getting right now.
The players take notice. If your coach is going hard for you, your players are gonna take notice. And I mean, I understand maybe Brad's personality, but if Brad's not gonna be the guy, then you gotta put more dogs on the team, similar to Smart and Jaylen Brown, who are willing to bring that toughness out of the team. If the coach not gonna do it, you can add players who can do that. But real quick, last Celtics thing, because I promised, a couple of these guys that I was going to shout their comments out on the show for sure. When I said, what do the Celtics need to do in game 3 game 4 to tie the series up? Shout out to my guy, Wes, said continue to come out with the same energy like they did in the first half of the first 3 games. Move the ball around, not just get to ice the ball with Kemba and JT, pick and roll. Play like it's an elimination game. Play with some heart and with some pride. Shout out to Wes with that comment. And then our guy Black Celtic on Twitter said he liked the fact that they involved Cantor more because Tice is enforcing Bam Adebayo to play any defense. Cantor should receive some minutes out there, but he definitely wants to see Marcus Smart cover Dragic some more, because when Smart's on Dragic, he shuts him down a little bit. And also, he said to keep attacking Duncan Robinson and Hero because they can't guard anybody.
Duncan can't guard nobody.
Hero's
tough.
Hero's nice.
Hero's
but I do
feisty.
think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can get the best out of Hero.
Right, Hero's feisty.
He's better than Duncan. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Let's move on though. Those are great things, obviously, and in the perfect world, Celtics will be 2-2 at the end of Wednesday night. But we shall see. Moving on though, NFL is back once again. We haven't got a chance to talk about this new look New England Patriots team. Let us know in the comments what you think about the New England Patriots.
2 weeks in.
2 weeks in now. If you remember, they faced the Miami Dolphins week 1. I don't think it mattered who the quarterback was going to be on that team. Patriots going to find a way to beat the Miami Dolphins. And they did. 21-11 or 20, I believe. I'll go back and find the score. I forget the score of the game, but they beat them pretty handedly. Cam Newton, 2 rushing touchdowns. Looked very well. Didn't throw the ball much. Got N'Keal Harry had a tragic fumble during that game. I think those were the real standouts of what happened in game 1. Game 2, you faced the Seattle Seahawks. And man, that felt like a playoff game.
Yeah, that game was intense.
That game was fun. Patriots unfortunately fall to the Seattle Seahawks 35-30, but Cam Newton looked great. Cam throwing the ball, not just running. They unleashed Cam a little bit. He had some zip to the ball. It's something we're going to talk about. Cam looked great. Russell Wilson, early MVP candidate, beast. And that's the 2 weeks into the season right now. Real quick, our thoughts and prayers go out to James White.
Absolutely.
Tragic news of his father. We're praying for his mom as well, hoping that she pulls through and everything's okay. That's just a guy that we love here on Double M. Talk about James White all the time, and they definitely could have used some James White on Sunday night. But looking at the New England Patriots, let's see a comment already. Czar says, listen, it has been so exciting seeing how much more aggressive we've got, and our playbook is so different. I love these passes. It's a breath of fresh air. We might be the only team that's had a quarterback and a system for 20 years straight. We've seen the same old plays over and over and over again. And now you're bringing a guy who's completely different than Tom Brady and Cam Newton. Different type of style. Even if Cam wasn't a running quarterback, he's a different type of pocket quarterback than Tom Brady is as well. And yeah, it is. I agree with Czar. It is very exciting to see. He's like what he's seeing with Edelman and Cam Newton. We saw a different type of Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Was Tom Brady holding back Julian? Obviously, I'm kidding, but we got to see Julian Edelman as the wideout, not the slot receiver, but the wideout going deep for balls, and that's what Cam does. And you saw N'Keal Harry looking like he might not be a bust in this Patriots system. And one thing with Cam is he's going to spread the ball around. He doesn't have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year relationships with these guys. These are all brand new. He's going to spread the ball. Got a little Bird in action. You got some Myers in the action. So yeah, the ball's going to spread around. Cam Newton obviously brings a whole different dynamic as your best running back and your best quarterback. So once again, Mike, quick thoughts on the New England Patriots these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, shout out to my young shooter in there, Jariel, saying overall NFL is looking pretty good for the most part. Obviously, we'll touch upon the injuries and whatnot that's been taking place. And he says, Patriots been looking good, especially with Cam. But yeah, I'm happy with what I've been seeing out of Cam Newton in this Patriots offense for sure. Like you said, everything that we've seen the last 20 years, same old offense. Obviously different players shuffle in and out, but it's Brady, same offense that we've seen over and over again. And I don't say that in a bad thing because we've seen the amount of success the Patriots have had over the last 20 years.
6 rings.
But Brady's gone. Offense has to change up a little bit. And, it's a little bit exciting now to see this offense look different than what we've been watching, for the past 20 years. It's exciting to watch. Even if it wasn't Cam Newton, just to have a quarterback who can take the ball and scramble a few times or drop back and make a pass is great to see. I'm happy. I think we're all happy that it's Cam Newton doing it because we know that he can do a great job at doing it. Plus his personality, his leadership, all that he brings to the table is just great to have him in that role. I think one thing for sure that I noticed from last game, especially against the Seahawks, is the fact that he has no fear in getting any and everybody involved. You mentioned the names: N'Keal Harry, Bird, Jacoby Myers, the fullback that caught the touchdown, Jakob Johnson. Like, Cam Newton has no fear in getting people involved. Is he passing the ball out there to Julio Joneses and DeAndre Hopkins and some of these great? No, we all know Patriots don't have a elite receiving core. Edelman's solid, but he's 34 years old. N'Keal Harry's only in his second year. Like, we know that the Patriots don't have a top 10 receiving core. But at the end of the day, you gotta perform with the guys that are out there. And even though those guys that I just mentioned aren't the elite wide receivers in the league, just knowing the fact that you have a quarterback who's going to have the confidence to pass the ball your way is going to boost your morale so much. You think last year when Jacoby Myers was on the field or when N'Keal Harry finally got healthy, knowing that they're playing with Brady, their confidence level when they're on the field is not really there because Brady's mindset, like, okay, I'm trying to get the ball to Julian Edelman. I'm trying to get the ball to James White. Like, I'm trying to get it to guys I trust. If you make one mistake, oh my gosh, Brady's going to hate me. Brady's not going to look my way anymore. It's different time now. I don't care what wide receiver they're pumping out on the field right now. This current season, they know that Cam Newton's going to look for them if they can get open, and there's not going to be really any hate or animosity if they make a mistake or drop a pass. Like, it's immediately on to the next one. Cam's trying to do his best. Obviously he hasn't been in this team and this system for 20 plus years. So he's trying to do his best to fit in and do the right things. And he's trying to do that with the receivers that he has out there with him. And I think, even though that they lost to the Seahawks, it was great to see that especially when McDaniels and them let Cam Newton drop back and be in the pocket and make passes, he was making solid, strong, accurate passes, and he was spreading the ball around. And I think obviously the Patriots continue to do that. They'll get those guys out there that they have to continue to play with confidence and be ready to make plays. Now, again, that doesn't change the fact that, man, if you could go out there and make a trade or something for an elite receiver, do it immediately, expeditiously.
I think the Seahawks game showed me that you have a team here.
Yeah.
You have a serious team here. You know, there's question marks still after the Miami. The Miami game didn't really show me anything. Like I said, it didn't really matter. Hoyer could have been that quarterback. We were going to win that game. Seahawks showed me, if we make a call for Odell, if we try to see what's up with Allen Robinson,
I tell you,
this team could really now start to make some serious noise. From just what I saw against the Seahawks and how good Cam looked throwing the ball. Yes, I understand that the defense, you know, the secondary wasn't as great, and Russell Wilson was able to, you know, throw 5 touchdowns against you. I get it. Like I said on the Patriots roundtable, one, it was the design of playing zone that killed the Patriots, just accounting for Russell Wilson and him moving and giving up space and buying himself some time. Patriots are going to clean that up. I'm not worried about the secondary. Things that worry me about this team, the run blocking. I think the run blocking is very tough right now. You didn't get anything from any of your running backs at all in the second game. There wasn't a lot of RPO like there was against Miami. And I want to answer Czar's question real quick. Czar's asking us, love to hear how y'all felt about the last play. Should we have won that game? We had multiple chances. I'm going to answer the second question first. We had chances to win this game. One, we don't have a kicker. We had a kicker. This game is won because if Nick Foles kicks that in, you're not going to need a touchdown to win this game. So there's that. So the game could have been won. Now, the last play, in real time, watching it in real time, I was pissed. Like, damn. Well, why did we run that play? Obviously, they knew it was coming. But I was watching in real time, I was pissed. But going back, seeing how everything transpired, just really thinking about it, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that play at all. You put the ball in Cam Newton's hand.
Who's your best running back,
who was successful with that play previously. And I don't care if Seahawks knew that was the play. It doesn't matter. It's a 1-yard line. Your offensive line just got beat. Bad. Your offensive line got beat.
Bad.
That's what it came down to. If your offensive line held up, or if, like Kim admitted later, if he just ran outside or read the play better, it's a touchdown. So I'm not, as much as trust me, if there's anyone that likes to bash Josh McDaniels, it's me. But that last play, 1 second left, 1-yard line, you have to have a play to win the game. You want to put it in Cam Newton's hands to rush it in? I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it at all. And I know there's going to be things that they clean up for sure. Just saying, yeah, our kicker is booty. Yeah, I think, and they like Nick. They like Nick Foles. So it looks like that's what it's going to be.
I just don't understand what happened to the dude they drafted.
The racist dude.
Yo, what happened to him?
Yeah, they didn't want that media attention, bro. He sucked during training camp. he sucked during.
They just wasted a draft pick on a dude.
They tried.
Oh
and
man,
he sucked. And that it puts you in a hole because there's gonna be games where you need some field goal. You're gonna need some 50-yarders. Look at Kansas City game.
That dude, what's the name?
Bucker.
Oh boy,
he hit 3 50-yarders.
I know. I faced him in fantasy. I know.
3 50-yarders. Patrick Mahomes wasn't perfect. Didn't have a good game. The Kansas City offense did not have a good game. The defending champs, but their kicker was able to make important kicks throughout the game.
Yeah, Pitcher's got to get another kicker here. Like, we had the Vinatieri era. He was great. Gostkowski had several solid years until them last trash couple of years he had. You got to find the next guy. And, I assume Belichick and his people find that next guy, but they haven't yet. So yeah, like Czar said, they need to get that sorted out immediately. They need a kicker because, like you saw in that game against the Seahawks, you can win and lose games depending on how your kicker performs.
Yeah.
Like kickers are very important.
It puts you in a handicap because now you're going for 2 in situation, and it's not all the time that you're going to be able to convert those 2-point conversions. Like if we did another reason why you put yourself in the hole, you didn't convert that 2 points, well, because you don't have a kicker. Czar saying, no, I can accept that. Watching Cam really rally his team to come back from a deficit against Wilson, on top of a dope defensive team.
Cam's a fighter.
Against Wilson, yes. Seahawks defense trash. They're the worst defensive team in the NFL currently right now. They got a bunch of injuries. You were supposed to expose this defense if you allowed Cam Newton to throw the ball. Cam can throw. That's great sign. I'm not gonna say Seahawks have a good defensive team though. Their defense is boo.
Cam's a fighter, and I think any game, doesn't matter the game, the team, Cam's gonna fight. As long as he's out there, he's gonna fight. Like
you saw how poised he was in that final series. I was like, wow.
Like you gotta understand, this is a veteran.
Yeah,
it's 30-year-old veteran. He's been
there.
He's been to the biggest game. He's won the MVP. Like this is no rookie, young guy that we're taking a chance. We're trying to learn, and I'm that day will come where the Patriots put the team on a young rookie or on a young guy's hands. But as of right now, and hopefully, my prayers that for this season and hopefully beyond, you have Cam Newton. Like he's gonna be ready to fight when it gets down and dirty, coming from behind. Cam's gonna be out there trying to fight in every game he's in.
Yeah, he looked poised. He looked good. One thing I'm not trying to hear anytime Cam Newton does a nice pass or leaves it. Oh, that was Tom Brady. Like, come on, let's let it go, guys.
You're gonna hear for a year or maybe 2, as long as Brady's still in the league, especially this year for sure. You're gonna hear that stuff. Like it's not going anywhere. You talk about a guy who's wearing that uniform for 20 years. It's gonna get annoying because it's
annoying.
I know some people maybe have. It didn't take me long after that first game against Miami. Like, all right, like Brady's not here. It didn't take me long to feel that way. Like, all right, we're Brady's era's done. Like, oh my goodness,
LeBron just went up.
LeBron just okay, but yeah, it didn't take me long in that first game to say, all right, Brady's gone, new era. Cam Newton. It didn't take me long. Like I snapped into it real quick, but for other people, it might take a little bit longer. Everybody's different.
So let's get to it. Here in Double M, we don't sugarcoat nothing. We said when Cam Newton was going to be on this team, he was going to apply a lot of pressure to these Boston fans. We know Boston's history, and there's still times I wake up and I'm like, wow, we have a black quarterback on this team.
Who would ever thought?
Who would ever thought? And that means something here in New England. For some people who won't get it and won't understand, but knowing that a black man is leading the New England Patriots is very significant. And we knew that this was going to upset some people. You hear it in Boston sports media all the time. They still don't want to accept that this is Cam is for real. Cam is for real right now. And I can just see that people are just waiting for him to fail. I'm glad he's doing well. But here's an example of something that drove me crazy, Mike. Something that just blew my mind. We can all agree that although the Patriots lost, right? This was one of those losses where you weren't too upset.
No, you weren't. I had the Patriots lose the game, but they played solid.
They played solid, and you could take some things out of this game and be like, oh, okay, the Patriots have something going on here. Cam, what grade would you give Cam Newton in that game?
I give him a B. Above average. He wasn't bad.
Played good, threw the ball, some zip, everything, right?
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, Boston media found a way to criticize Cam Newton. Cam throws the ball where his receivers can get hurt. Cam was putting the ball in areas where Tom Brady would never do that. Tom Brady would never put his players in a situation where their receivers will get lit up. And Cam's a very dangerous quarterback for that reason. Would y'all shut the hell up? What are you talking about? Due to the fact that the Nikhil play where the guy went headhunting on Nikhil and got kicked out of the play, they found a way to blame that on Cam Newton and his decision making. Sick. And these are the things that we're going to hear. And I'm waiting for Cam when he has the bad game, and how media is going to take it. And he's different. He's a different type of quarterback. He's a guy when he gets to the end zone, he's gonna celebrate. He doesn't really care what people.
I freaking love it.
He doesn't care what people think. He's got his chain out while he's playing football. He's just different, and people hate different. They'd rather Russell Wilson, clean cut, says the right thing, goes about his business. Kim's got the dreadlocks. He's dancing in practice. He's giving players nicknames. And in New England, nobody knows what's going on. Like, there's really big reporters going out talking about, oh, he's giving this guy a nickname. Kim daps up his.
He's made handshakes with his teammates.
Made handshakes like, Cam Newton's made a new handshake with, like, that's what I'm seeing from beat reporters right now. Stuff that doesn't even, but it's different to them. They don't know what this is. They've never seen something like it. Oh my God, he daps up the offensive lineman before he practices. What? That's the news? That's what we're talking about here?
You got to understand, Marv. These same beat reporters and we're not used to that from the New England Patriots and the quarterback. We're not used to the face of the team showing this much personality. Even Brady, when he was first in the league, Brady wasn't showing much personality. It wasn't until the last couple of years Brady's on social media dropping IG posts with rap songs, and he's doing little funny little videos with his like Brady is now showing a lot more personality. And especially these last couple of years in New England, he started showing a lot of personality. But now Cam, we know Cam got all the personality in the world, and it's Brady rose it up a couple notches, but Cam's kicked the door open. When you talk about showing personality on a team, and it's gonna rub some people the wrong way, especially if you're not used to something. It's gonna rub you the wrong way. It's gonna rub people the wrong way. And there's other people like, man, I'm here for it. I'm one of those people. I love the personality. I love when someone can be in any profession and still get the job done. Like the amount of videos they post on social media, it's just, oh, Cam's dancing. Oh, he's dancing now. Look at this song. He's dancing now. If you was a casual fan of something dedicated, like, yo, this dude didn't care about football, care to play court. Is he studying to play? Look, every time I see this dude, he's just dancing to work, and while he's working out, he's doing different things. Cam Newton has so much personality, but Bill Belichick and McDaniel, they don't shy away from him. This guy's a student of the game, and he puts the work in. The media will show you one thing, but hey, I'm here to watch any athlete who can show their personality, but still put the work in to study and grind and perfect their craft and be the best athlete they can be. And that's exactly what Cam's doing.
Is it that why they love Gronk?
Same thing with Gronk. I mean, he kind of sucked this year, but
that's why everyone loved Gronk here in Master. He's so personable. He's funny. He's goofy. But anytime Bill Belichick or Josh McDaniels would talk about Gronk, what would they say? Student of the game. He's very smart.
Yep.
He understands what's going on. You're just getting that with your quarterback.
Yeah, and they're not used to it. The guy that's the face of the team is doing. He's. Would you say he's going above and beyond what Gronk would do here? I think the thing with Gronk is when he was outside of the Patriots, he showed wild personality. When he's with the Patriots, he showed a little personality, but he'd be tame. Cam's showing it with the Patriots, without the Patriots. That's just him 24/7. Gronk, I think Gronk, when he was here, when he got to the practice and the game, he toned down a little bit from what we see from his social media, the way he lives his life and whatnot. He toned down a little bit. Cam, there's no toning down with him.
But then again, also there wasn't 50 cameras on Gronk. Gronk was acting. I bet Gronk was acting silly in practices too. No one cared. It was just Gronk.
He wasn't the face of the team, yeah.
You know, it was just Gronk. I bet there's players on the Patriots right now that do silly things. The eyes aren't on them.
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone wants to say that, you know, Patriots, they're very militant and that's true. They definitely have, you know, areas where you can't fool around. But every time I see Cam doing these dancing and stuff, it's during stretches. It's like you would have think it's breaking news.
Yeah.
The man is stretching. Listen to whatever music.
And they pumping the music through the speakers. If you like a song, you like a song. But
it's funny how they cover him. That's all.
The magnifying glass is going to be on Cam because 1, he's new. 2, he's the quarterback and he's now the face of the team. The magnifying glass is going to be on that guy no matter what he does.
I'm proud of him, though. I'm glad he's playing well. He's succeeding.
Yeah,
he's bought in. He's saying the right thing. Last year, what was my issue with Brady? My issue with Brady was he wasn't taking accountability, and he was attacking the young guys so much to the point I was getting mad at Brady. It was like it looked like he doesn't care. He didn't want to be here. Eventually we found out he really didn't care. He didn't want to be here. But it just seemed off for Brady to act like this. Someone who's such a great leader for the Patriots for so many years. Nikhil has a horrible fumble week 1. What does Cam comes out? Yeah, he messed up. But, you know, he made a great play. And we're going to go back to him again. And, you know, this is a guy who's going to be a future of this team. And he knows that. He can tell you that he messed up. I could tell you that he messed up. He's going to be better. And he bailed me out. Kim said he bailed me out that play because I threw a bad ball. That's what you want to hear from your quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear from your quarter. That right there is leadership.
Yeah. When you have a leader in any sport, and you have a leader that can speak like that to a guy who's, you know, maybe a rookie or just trying to make his mark on the team, when your leader speaks like that about you publicly, like it's a confidence booster. Or if it doesn't boost your confidence, it's not going to take away from your confidence anymore. Like you're probably already down in the dumps after making a bad play or a fumble or whatever. But when your leader speaks like that about you, you know, your head is still going to be held. Excuse me. Your head is still going to be held high because you're like, all right, you know, he got my back. They got my back. So, yeah, man. But, you know, we'll continue with Patriots talk for sure. Mm-hmm. Let's get into our final topic real quick. And this is with, you know, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, making a splash in the world of NASCAR. Just to make sure I got it correctly, Jordan's now a NASCAR team owner, and he teamed up with another racer, Danny Hamlin, to create a group. And this group, their team has now added Bubba Wallace, who's the only black NASCAR driver currently. And I think, you know, from the comments, I don't want to misquote Jordan or anything too much, but you know, he just figured there was a time with everything going on. No, why not make a splash and make this happen, you know, and show that obviously NASCAR has done a couple little things to show that they're open to, well, they're knowledgeable of the social inequality that's taking place in the world. And, you know, they've dealt with different things within their own sport with, you know, the Bubba Wallace in the new situation and getting rid of the Confederate flag. You know, NASCAR's trying to open up and make sure that they let people know they're aware of what's happening in the world, and they're trying to, you know, do their part within their sport. And Jordan, you know, kind of jumped into that as well with, you know, being, I don't know if there's, actually, no, he's not the first black owner, but he's definitely the most notable one, right, for sure.
Let Go ahead.
And yeah, and I'm just saying he's the most notable one for sure. And then he's added on, the only black NASCAR driver right now. Is definitely big news, especially if you're really into that world.
It's big news, and let me paint a picture of how big this is. Super small sample size. Jordan, owner of NASCAR. 10 black families hear about that. 10 black families are okay. We'll watch one race. Jordan's in there. That's a big name. Let's see.
They show him in the stand one time.
let's just see 10 black families in their homes. See that and say, all right, we know who Jordan is. We're big Jordan fans. Bubba Wallace, African American racer. 10 black families watch it, right? Another race goes on. It wasn't their thing. 9 families don't watch it, but one family sticks to watches it. And that one family watches it, and there's a little boy there who sees himself in Bubba Wallace. All it takes is one family. And then that kid's like, you know what? I want to do NASCAR. This is something that's really interesting me. And the only way I found out about it is because, my dad knew about who Michael Jordan was, and now I'm watching it, and then boom. And that's how a trend starts to happen. That's just a small, even if it's 1 out of 10 people who got interested into NASCAR, that's something huge. We always talk about on this show how representation matters. Bubba Wallace, a lot of people didn't know who Bubba Wallace was before this Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, and the issue that happened with him. But no one knew who Bubba Wallace was. This comes out, and now you add in Michael Jordan, probably the biggest name in the world, who's putting his stamp onto NASCAR. Heads are gonna go and tune in. People are gonna want to know how he's involved and what he's doing and things like that. And who knows what kid? Forget us adults, but who knows what kid is gonna get interested in that? Like, oh, I really like this NASCAR thing. Oh, let me do some research. Okay, who's John Stewart? Okay, who are these guys? Let me. Oh, I want to start racing, Dad. How do I get involved in this? Boom, boom, boom. And you can create a whole new lane. And he tells his friends, or she tells his friends. That's how it starts. That's the beauty of what Jordan is doing.
Yeah, that's huge. And even I didn't even think about it from that angle, but that's huge, and that's true. And I think that's also something that Jordan, mentioned in some of his coaches, talking about just opening up the eyes, to NASCAR even more. Especially black people probably don't pay attention to NASCAR at all. He's trying to open the eyes up a little bit more to this sport. That, within everything you just explained, and just Michael Jordan has had a reputation, especially during his playing career, where kind of post playing career, he wasn't really involved in anything. When it came to anything, I think we had a conversation on the show one time, political thing. Like, Jordan was very neutral. Let me not say too much because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to get on anybody's bad side. He said that thing during his playing career, talking about where Republicans buy Nikes too, different thing. He walked a really straight and narrow line. But within these last couple of years, him and his brand has really taken a stand. We're talking about the Jordan brand, Nike, Michael Jordan, big names. Now he's left and right donating money here, dropping statements and comments there, speaking up here, throwing money this way, that way to different organizations. He did take a lot of heat for how he was early on in his days, but over the last couple of years, I don't know if it's age. I don't know what's been different for him or it's the people around him speaking. I don't know what it is, but Jordan has definitely dipped his hands in different things, has been a lot more outspoken, has been a lot more, just out there in terms of things happening in the world around him. Like, as much money as Jordan has, and he's a black man in this world at the end of the day, and he's starting to use his platform to shine light on different things. And in this NASCAR situation, and just what his idea and goal was, going this route and becoming a NASCAR team owner, just goes down that path even more, man. And Jordan has always been my favorite athlete of all time. And, I'm one of the people like when it comes outside of basketball, I didn't really look to Jordan for anything. Like, yeah, he was in a movie. You know, the way that kids look at LeBron now, like, yeah, LeBron's a great basketball player, but man, he started a school, like he's doing this and that. You know, for Jordan being my favorite athlete of all time, I used to only look at Jordan like, man, he's just a great basketball player. But after basketball, all right, cool. But now, you know, he's making a splash in different things. It's just me personally, I'm very happy to see it from a guy who I still consider my favorite athlete of all time.
Dirk mentions it's, reason is it's socially acceptable now. Another thing is we always say, right, youth leads the movement, right? So at the time, obviously maybe it's not as socially acceptable to speak out on political issues. And then throughout the years, Jordan was very quiet, like Mike explained. Then you see these young cats coming in, LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, and they're out there, using their platforms and making some real change and speaking out on things. You learn from the youth. You learn from younger too. It's like, okay, this is how it should have been done.
I think that's what triggered for him.
Let me use my platform. I'm seeing what these younger cats are doing. I could do the same. I probably have a bigger platform. I have a lot more money. I could do some things as well. We found out, Jordan was a big speaker with the owners during this whole bubble thing that's going on, and how the players should react. Should they leave or should they go throughout this whole transition? Jordan was a big person to speak up and say, I'm going to speak to these owners as a black man in these ownerships, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to start giving out money to the BLM situation. It starts from seeing what these younger cats are doing. Obviously, LeBron James is leading the movement, and something, whether you like LeBron as a player or not, something you know about LeBron is he took his platform and took it far.
Yeah.
Far. He's going to be someone, even when basketball's over, who we're going to remember for basketball as well, but also what he's did outside of the court. Jordan sees that, understands that while I'm still here, while I still have a platform as well, I can do more as well.
Yeah, man. I definitely believe that Jordan is seeing this movement right now within players who are playing a sport that he loves so much, and definitely triggered him for sure. Like you said, when the players were ready to sit out and some were ready to go home after the Jacob Blake situation, Jordan was, from all the reports, one of the leaders on the phone between the players and the owner, trying to mediate and trying to come to an understanding as an owner, saying, what can we do to help this situation and help you players feel better or comfortable and whatnot. So he's probably, it's probably definitely opened up his eyes a lot more. And again, it's just I'm happy to see it for sure. But yeah, yes, we want to talk on that real quick. That's my guy. Jordan's the GOAT. We get another conversation. I tell you straight up, ain't nobody better than Michael Jordan when it comes to basketball. But we'll say that conversation for another time.
Think about it. Patriots have a tough matchup against the Raiders, who are looking very good. So, yeah, man, a lot of things to come up and talk with. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll be here. This is Mr. Mike Nice.
Yes, sir.
It's DJ Mees. Y'all have a great night and a great week.
Double M, we out. So long, Facebook.